Wow, what a great episode we have today with Diana. You're going to learn some amazing stuff listening to this episode.
Wow, I had done a little recon on Diana, so I knew about her huge story and essentially the hardship that she went through coming from Soviet Union, health issues, but it all was purposeful in that it was leading her to her soul connection. And I think so many people now would be so inspired listening to this. She teaches in this podcast how to connect with your soul. She essentially teaches you about heart-brain coherence, which is something Marci and I talk about all the time.
Yeah, she's going to guide you through essentially a heart-brain coherence exercise at the end of the conversation. So I would encourage you, when you get to that point, she doesn't specifically tell you to close your eyes. She will tell you to put your hands over your heart, but put your hands over your heart. If it feels comfortable, allow your eyes to close, listen to her voice, and I believe you will have an experience. I know I did. And it will be uplifting, and it gives you a taste of what she's got and what she could bring. And then we'll share, if you look in the show notes, how you can connect with her and get more of that guidance. So lots of great takeaways today. I think you're going to love it.
The world is a lot right now. Are you feeling it? We all need new tools to help us walk through the chaos with grace, ease, and compassion for each other and for ourselves. In this podcast, you'll hear from parents, educators, and other experts who can bring perspective to the monumental job of parenting. It's time to level up and be warriors for our kids and our communities. This is the Warrior Parent Podcast. I'm Marci Mitchell.
And I'm Debbie DiManno. As parents, we understand that it really does take a village to raise our kids. We hope that this podcast serves to create and support that community for you. Join us as we discuss and practice our core tools, which are proven mind-body techniques that can be used by anyone to improve your life on a daily basis.
Well, welcome back to the Warrior Parent Podcast. We're always so grateful that you're joining us. It's January 2026, and we're happy to have you here. Our guest today is Diana Esther Berschader. And she's a speaker, a transformational coach, and the founder of the global educational platform, The Diamond Within, which is helping women in midlife to rediscover themselves, reignite their passions and purpose, and step confidently into the next chapter of life, feeling inspired and empowered. And that is exactly how we want to feel. Through her program, she guides women to awaken their unique gifts, reconnect with their joy, and manifest their deepest dreams, all while creating a life filled with meaning, confidence, and energy. I love that so much. Thank you so much for being here, Diana Esther.
I'm so privileged to be here as well. Thank you so much for having me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Well, I was just telling the ladies here that I just spent a couple of hours getting to know Diana yesterday, watching some of her podcasts and listening to some of her stories. And she has some amazing stories. So I'm not going to take a lot of time, but I just want to say that I think Diana is perfect to be the speaker for January 2026. I think we're all needing a little bit of inspiration right now. And Diana, without further ado, go ahead and tell us a little bit about your background, about your soul searching, essentially, because I think that that's probably the most important thing that I want to hear about anyway. So go ahead.
My journey began at the former Soviet Union, at the time of Cold War, darkness, and gray reality of life. When I was a child, I was a very, very sensitive child, craving love and affection, but felt unloved, misunderstood, and lonely. My parents were lovely people, but the way of life did not allow them to give enough love and attention to me. And I had no siblings, I had no pets, apart from one toy named Annie. That was my whole world. It happened to be that as I grew up, my curiosity and love for life took me on a journey. And out of difficult and gray reality, I felt that the only thing that moved my soul was music. And I would stand in front of the mirror for hours, moving my body, and to be taken by this music into imaginary land where I was dreaming to becoming one day a prima ballerina.
I love it.
I
Beautiful.
shared this passion with my parents. They never took it seriously. And when I've been told one day, absolutely not, you can just forget about this dream. This is not the way for a nice Jewish girl to live.
Yeah.
Just forget about it. It's never going to happen. In that moment, I felt such a strong pain inside of me. And I felt that something virtually died inside. And in a very short time, I was taken into the hospital with excruciating stomach aches. My parents were not allowed to stay with me that night. So I was all alone in the hospital, hugging my little body that was in so much pain because during the time of Soviet Union, unfortunately, we had no painkillers readily available. And it took few days for doctors to realize and diagnosed me with a chronic inflammation of liver and gallbladder, which was unheard of condition for a child of my age.
Yeah.
And the only treatment that was available, it was holistic, but unfortunately it was quite barbaric. It's even hard for me to talk about it. So that night in the hospital was the dark night of my soul. And I felt I could not bear the pain any longer. The pain became so strong that it overtook me, and my body started to feel ice cold. I felt I'm dying.
So you were essentially having a near-death experience in that moment,
Yes,
right?
but I did not pass out completely. I was
Right. No, no,
conscious of
no.
what's happening. Yes, I was
Yes.
quite conscious of what's happening.
Yes.
And for the first time in my life, I've heard the voice within me encouraging me and telling me that I'm not going to die and everything will be well. Just stay present, just hang on there. I don't know why, because as a child, I could not understand where it's coming from, whether it's real, whether I made it up, what's happening to me. But in that moment, I felt the heat wave brought me back to life.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt such trust and such feeling of enormous courage within me that brought me back to life, that gave me this unbelievable experience that ever since feels exactly the same, that helped me to overcome many challenges in my life. I could not discuss this experience with anybody. I could not speak to my parents because they simply would not understand. And at the time of Soviet Union, you don't ask questions, especially to do with anything that is not normal and not typical, because it will make you immediately blacklisted. And because spirituality and religion was forbidden and people used to go to prison for it, it was a very, very sensitive subject to talk to anybody. So the only person I would talk, it was my doll, name anything.
Yes.
That became my confidant, that became my whole life, my friend for as long as I
Yeah.
was a child.
Yeah.
That's so interesting you say that because it's dawning on me as you say it at 6 years old, you're so young, but it's almost like you came up with your own form of journaling to process what was going on. And it was just talking to this beloved doll, but you were processing and talking through all these things that were happening. And that's incredibly therapeutic. And you just
Definitely.
intuitively did that
Yeah.
because maybe you didn't have other choices, but something in you knew that you needed to talk about it. So well done, little 6-year-old you.
It was interesting that my life took me on a journey without awareness, based purely on trust of
Yes.
of my feelings, which is a very, very seldom case. People always ask questions and they always doubt the voice within, and they always doubt their feelings, and they always try to find an answer through somebody else because they simply don't trust themselves.
What we always say is, it's an inside job. In fact, Marci and I are writing a book right now,
Wow.
referencing that. But what I hear you talking about, and a lot of people who are listening are like, well, what's the inside voice? What is she talking about? And you hear, my mother-in-law is really into NDEs. I've also had an NDE or more than one myself. So I understand this soul connection, because what you say is that everyone's looking out there. They're looking to doctors, they're looking to therapists, they're looking to all these
People in
things.
authority.
Yeah, but essentially, it's everything that you need is inside, right?
100%.
Yeah, and
100%.
you happen to have that experience at a very young age. Now, what's fascinating is probably, a lot of people may have some sort of big thing that happens, or, whatever in their life, but they don't know what it is, and they'll sort of brush it off. Like, yeah, that was just a thing, like whatever, right? But you, in fact, have continued this for your whole life. So talk about that. Talk about some of the
Yeah.
other wild things that have shown up for you, and how you trusted that your little soulmate, if you will, or whatever you want to call it, and came back to it. So talk about the experience of you leaving the Soviet Union. This is fascinating.
Yeah. What was interesting, I call this inner voice my friend.
Yes.
That's
It was
great.
my
That's a
friend. It
perfect
was,
name.
yeah,
Yes.
it was my everything.
Yeah.
If whenever I needed any kind of answers, it would just absolutely intuitively and naturally, like very, very organic. I would listen. I would listen to the voice within. I would speak to the friend within and wait for an answer.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it would come, sometimes it wouldn't. And I would take an action regardless. So just give you an example. I could not become a ballerina. It's caused a huge drama within myself without my parents understanding. So as as I grew up, my illness, unfortunately, uh, became stronger because we had no specific things for this kind of issues. It was ongoing treatments 5 to 7 times per year. I have to end up in the hospital for virtually barbaric treatments, and I can't. I don't want even to talk about it because it doesn't sound very nice. But
Yeah.
it helped me because it would extract bile that was stagnated inside of my body, which would not find the way out any other way. It would physically be extracted from me. And it would take something like 6 to 7 hours for me to be there in the hospital in particular way to be able to do it. Most of the time of my life, I would spend at the hospitals and getting to know my illness even more than the doctors knew. So, and I decide as a child that one day I will become a doctor and I will heal myself and heal other children. And I remember a moment I was at the hospital and the doctor came with a visit with some younger students, asking them about the condition I have and what would they propose. And this young fellow, unfortunately, didn't come up with the right answer. And I, as a 9 or 10-year-old, came up with an answer telling the doctor, and he was amazed. And he said, it's not him who's supposed to become a doctor, it's you who's supposed to become a doctor. So I was looking forward to study medicine. I was a very good student at school. And what happened, it was a moment that next year I was about to launch my papers to a medical school at the time of Soviet Union. but 1967 war, that 1967 war for the state of survival of Israel elevated an anti-Semitic wave in Russia during the Soviet Union. And the wave was so strong that it disallowed Jewish children to study at the universities. And my second sparkling dream broke into millions of pieces, leaving me not only heartbroken, but without the future. And I had no possibility, as any other children of my age, to leave the country. You simply cannot leave Russia. It's like, it's like living, during the China, in completely confined space. You just can't get out.
Right.
And because Israeli government and American government has constant conversation between each other to finally let the Jewish people out, I had a feeling, and the voice within kind of encouraged me to keep on going, that something will happen. I met some young kids, and all of us find the way to reach Israeli government and ask for an invitation whenever the possibility will arise. Usually, every post that comes into Soviet Union was opened. The letters very often would come open, if they would come to you, and whatever not meant would never even find you. But I think God has a big plans for me. And when the first 400 people were actually allowed to leave Soviet Union, our family was randomly chosen out of hundreds and thousands of people who applied to leave at the virtually first batch of people. So it gave me enormous amount of strength looking forward to a future. And it was like a miracle happening to me, because after 4 years of waiting, when you don't know if it ever happened to you, because the moment you launch the documents, you become blacklisted. My parents were not allowed to work. My mom was working virtually undercover because she was a very, very good right hand of the manager. He just simply didn't want to let her go. Even so, he was risking his life and his position. He could have end up in prison very easily, because both of them were not allowed to work, and we had no social security, as you can imagine. We had to find the food and some kind of keep ourselves going for an infinite amount of time, because we never knew if it's ever going to happen. And my parents went on this journey with me just because I was the only child, and I was very ambitious to leave Russia and to obviously have them with me. But if they would say absolutely not, I would find a way to leave Russia on my own. And they knew that, because I'm that kind of free spirit that would not stop at anything if I put my mind to it. And I felt that they had no future and I have no future. And the best decision, even so it's scary, because you're going into unknown, you don't have passports, you don't have money, you don't speak the language, you know nothing. You just feel that you want to be free to be who you are. So these strengths that I've adopted since early childhood helped me to overcome this moment, which maybe not all people would do it. Maybe some people will doubt it and say, it doesn't matter how bad is it, but at least, I have home, I'm safe, even if I cannot work, somebody will provide the food for me. People will always find a different way of thinking. But for me, it was only one way, just
It's
forward.
very easy to use the the pain and discomfort, versus taking that step, that leap of faith. And this is a huge leap of faith, going to another country, like you say, you don't speak the language, you don't know, is it going to be worse? But something inside you is like, you cannot, you've longing for freedom, longing for liberty, longing for something else. And that's
Well,
remarkable.
well, and then the story, like, not only did they not know where they're going, but you described the story as they just dropped you off in the middle of the night in the dark off the train.
Yes,
They
yes,
don't even know where they're at. Like
yeah.
they didn't even like take them to a town. It's just like you get out here and like that's it, and that's it. And they right, you just had a little bit of money and right, and then you were bouncing all over the world since then.
So what's happened, because we were the first people to leave, and because unfortunately they wanted us to feel strong, like we are the traitors,
Right, right.
we are blacklisted people.
They
They
need their
want
pound of
us,
flesh.
yeah, they wanted us to feel it and
Yeah,
never forget about the journey,
Yeah, sure.
because we've paid for the ticket. It was a train ride. It was not airplane ride. It was a train ride from Ukraine to Austria, because Austria was the only country. It was no infrastructure yet. It was not the countries ready, or to get migrants in. We were the
yeah.
very, very first wave. So, as you mentioned, the train stopped at midnight in the middle of nowhere, and the
Mm.
train driver came in and set everybody out. And my dad stood up and he said, "What do you mean, everybody out?" He said, "If you're going to ask any more questions, you're going to be sent. This train will go to Siberia, and nobody will ever know anything about it." And it's true.
Yeah,
So all people get
absolutely.
out. We had no mobile phones. We had no
What
compasses.
year is this?
It was talking about 1973, winter.
Okay. Yep. Oh,
Okay.
winter, of course, in
Winter
Austria.
1973. So we
Wow.
were not in Austria yet. We are still in Ukraine.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, we are still in Ukraine. And the temperature outside was about between 20 and 25 minus. And you have no trolleys, you can imagine. We had 3 suitcases, but you have to carry everything with you. And
Hmm.
by morning, we came to a next station because we had tickets, and we can catch the next train via Czechoslovakia, which was Bratislava at the time. So when we
Hmm.
came in the station was closed, and they let us in at some point, and they started humiliating custom search. I don't even want to describe what's happened there. And
Yeah.
they stopped the custom search 3 minutes before the train was about to go. So we didn't even look what was left in the suitcases after the custom search. And we rushed into the train, virtually throwing our suitcases through the windows just to be in that train.
Yes.
So when we finally were sitting there, tears were flowing down my face. I had, it's even hard to describe what I felt, because to me, Russia was always my home. It was place where I was born, and I could not understand why it turned against us for no
Hmm.
reason.
Well,
So
I'm sort of imagining like
that's
here
okay.
you are, with this young woman, and your parents have trusted you in this process that you have decided this journey you're gonna take your family on. And as a parent, you're pretty much gonna go along with your children for the most part. But at some point, they're probably questioning their own like, oh my God, is this even safe to have brought my daughter here? Like they probably had like second thoughts about what they had done at this point, right?
It's interesting that somehow I never felt um, that my parents were guiding me. It felt completely opposite. I
Yeah.
always felt I'm the one that makes decision, and
Yeah.
standing by those decision. And because my parents loved me, and because they didn't have another child,
Hmm.
they've been courageous enough to
Yeah.
step on the journey with me. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
many years later, they actually thank me for all the decision I made.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when we left and we came to Austria, we were about to go to Israel. And it took several days for us to fill in all the documents. And after those 2 days, the Yom Kippur War broke in,
Mm-hmm.
which was 50 years ago. And it happened in 1973, just before my birthday in November. So I felt, my God, I took my parents out of one kind of extreme situation, and now I'm about to bring them into the war zone. And I felt, you can imagine how I felt. I felt responsible. I didn't know what to say and how to act, but we always had another phone number to call in case if something goes wrong. So we called that number, and it was a number of American organization that helped and moved us from Austria to Italy to help us to find the country that would take us as a refugee.
Mm-hmm.
So we had 4 countries to apply to. It was United States, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. And America, unfortunately, refused us at the time because my father was.
Hey, we just wanted to take a quick moment to tell you about something very exciting that Debbie and I and our team have been working on for literally years. And that is our Cour Tools app, which is now available at the Google Play Store and at the Apple Store. And you can sign up for it now, and you will get access to all the tools we've been talking about on the podcast.
And if you're an early adopter of Cour Tools, you can get a VIP price for $49 for a lifetime. That's
Lifetime.
right.
Buy it once, and we'll keep updating it too.
Yes. So we're super excited about this. Go to Apple Store, go to Google Play, and purchase it now.
Cour Tools, COUR, capital TOOLS.
Go get it.
Highly ranking captain in the Navy. He was a military man for many years and had to be a communist. And my father was very, very honest about it. He did not lie about being a communist. And those days in 73,
Yeah.
America did not want to have a communist or any,
Yeah.
it was like a virus. They were scared about it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So America refused us, and we applied to 3 other countries. And after 9 months, Australia granted us visa. And it was unbelievable journey into Australia. I did not speak English. My father didn't speak English, and so is my mother. We studied English at school. This is not a kind of spoken English. And we never been in English-speaking country. So, and it was nobody in Australia at that time who spoke Russian.
I'm sure.
So it was a lot of challenges, one after another. And especially when we landed in Sydney, my father got very ill for the first time in his life. I believe because of the stress and even maybe a lot of uncertainties. It's, all this anxiety created some kind of illness within him. And after 10 days, he lost 12 kilos. He was just losing weight virtually daily for no reason. And I felt we are going to lose him. And I remember the moment we were set up in a very small hotel in Sydney, King's Cross area, and was given money for breakfast. And I came out and with my mom and walking down the street and praying to whatever. I had no clue if God exists, I had no clue about angels, I had no clue about anything. I was just praying into the space, asking for help to find any kind of solution. And few moments later, I hear Russian speaking voice. And I saw 2 women getting into a Japanese car, one in her 60s and one in her 40s. So I understood it's mother and daughter. So I rushed to them. I explained to them who I am. And I said, I need your help. we need a doctor. My dad is just disappearing. I need some desperate help. Happened to be that those two women, the older one, they came from China to Australia in early 50s at the time of the Chinese Revolution. So it used to be a huge Russian diaspora living in China, which I knew obviously nothing about, that migrated just before the revolution because they knew something about to happen and they went to China. It was a lot of Russian migrants went all over the world just before 1917 revolution happened. So that was the family from Shanghai who moved to Australia in the 50s. And the younger woman was already born in Australia. And the close friend of the family was one of the famous GPs in Sydney. So everything was like every experience I had in Sydney, it was pure miracle. It's like my guiding system would guide me everywhere. And I took my dad, we went to see this GP. He said he needs immediate hospitalization. He found the best hospital. And not only they helped me to find the hospital, they organized that during the time that my dad was in hospital for almost 40 days, every night, another family would come, pick us up every day to bring us to the hospital and then back to their home. And I felt like Australia opened its arm and gave me a hug of love.
Yeah.
So you talk about like all these little pearls, all these little miracles that happen in your life. And so you talk about like trusting that like you always did. So you didn't like you said, you couldn't grow up and pray or whatever you thought that was, right? You never learned how to do that, but you trusted this sort of guiding light, right? So much of the work that you do now, I want to talk about that a little bit.
Yes.
You talk about polishing the diamond, and polishing the sort of facets of the diamond. But the biggest piece of it that you talk about is the trust, right? So I just want to tell you a little story. So my stepson is going through some health issues right now, and so I'm sort of teaching him the I am, like I am healthy because his health is not good and all of that. And what he's learning is that he can sort of fake it for a while, right? But when the light bulb went off for him and the magic started to happen is when he actually believed it, right? You can fake it for a while and like, oh, I'm being positive, I'm doing all these things, I'm manifesting this, but do you really believe it? And I think that is the key, right? That is the key to your life, to your well-being, to your family's journey, like all of it. So talk about being in touch with your soul on that level.
I think the most important is to understand that we are not the humans on a spiritual journey,
Yeah.
but that we are spirit on the human journey. It reverses everything because people have understanding of life happening to them from the outside. We learn how to trust when we see, when we touch, and when we smell.
Yes.
Nobody taught us to trust our intuition and our feelings. We've been taught how to live life and learn how to think through life. But we don't learn how to live life from the heart and trust our feelings. Nobody teaches that.
Right.
Yeah.
So
It's like
when
we've gotten away from that, and that's such a primal thing. I feel like that's ancient ways, and then there's progress and there's new things that are learned, and with that there's this, okay, well, now we have technology, now we have these books, now we have these experts, but you're going back to this primal knowingness that comes within, and that's just, it's so powerful.
what's interesting, I think people need to, first of all, understand that the point of beginning, it's not your physical body, it's not your physical appearance. It's the spirit within you that dressed in your human outfit that
Yes.
that came here for an experience.
Yes.
Yes.
Soul came here for a choice.
Hmm.
It's not random coming. We
No.
all
Yeah.
come here for a choice to experience so-called the game of life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because life is not about overcoming challenges and trying to fix yourself.
No.
Life is about mystery. And the
Hmm.
moment you look at life as mysterious experience, you become curious.
Hmm.
It's
Yes.
no longer about pain and hardship. It's about
Right.
what can I do with it?
Yeah.
Yes.
How can I look at it from a different angle and see what it's hidden out of my awareness?
Yeah. Find
And
that gift, that diamond within, like you said.
yes,
Mhm.
and what I just want to emphasize all that the diamond within is not a metaphor. It's not a
Mhm.
metaphor. Every soul, that what God taught me, every soul has an unseen diamond within. The moment
Mhm.
the soul was created, the diamond was put inside of each and every soul
Mm.
as a rough piece of diamond to be polished through
Right.
lifetimes, through experience, through journey, because soul came here to to elevate itself. It's all about
Yeah.
soul evolution. It's not about just experiencing life as human, being born, study, get married, have children, have
Right.
this human experience. It doesn't make sense because you come with nothing and you go with nothing. You don't take nothing with you. You don't
Hmm.
take, and I always say at the cemetery, everybody is equal. Whether you're a homeless person or you're multi billionaire, we're all equal because the
Hmm.
soul comes here for an experience, and we
Yeah.
come here multiple times for multiple experience. We are not talking right now about karma. I'm always talking about cause and effect because
Hmm.
people always feel that life's happening to them instead of happening through them,
Right.
because most of the time people don't take responsibility for their life. They
Yeah.
always find somebody to blame.
Yep.
Hmm.
It's government, it's a system, it's a bug, it's virus. We always find something or someone to blame. But if the moment of awakening, the moment of taking responsibility for
Yeah.
everything you do, for everything you say, and for everything you feel,
Yeah.
because that what create a collective experience. And people think, who am I and how can I impact this huge 8.5 billion souls world? What am I? I am nothing. I don't do anything. No, you do, because without you, this world, it's not never going to be the same.
Yeah.
Each and every person plays huge role in evolution of the world. And whatever
Hmm.
is happening right now, it's a pure explanation of how people feel on the inside, because we
Yep.
all spill our feelings, our emotions, our thoughts into environment thinking nobody hear it,
Yeah.
and nothing happening, and it's one person cannot change anything. We are
Yeah.
not a drop in the ocean, we are ocean inside of the drop.
Right.
Yes. Oh my
Right.
gosh. Marcy and I come from this metaphysical world. So you are completely speaking our language. You just see us going
Yeah.
nodding, nodding, nodding,
Yeah,
nodding.
yeah,
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
yeah,
yes,
of
yes, yes, yes,
course.
yes.
Bobblehead.
So yeah, so you're sort of speaking to the choir here. But
Yeah.
we're short on time. And I want to, boy, do I just want to continue this conversation. But sometimes Marcy and I we feel frustrated. Like you said, like we're sort of banging our head against the wall. Like we understand these things. We understand energy. We understand the collaborative. We understand the inner void. We like all those things. But for those people who are listening to this now, thinking that we've lost our minds, what could you say to them about the awareness? Like what could I know you teach people how to have
Mhm.
conversations with their souls. What's a couple of things that they could do to sort
Mm.
of figure out how to get in touch with their soul? I know this is like a big question for the last couple
Okay,
minutes.
okay,
You got
okay.
3 minutes.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's very deep. It's very multifaceted question because it's not about one thing, it's everything. Okay, everything we do in life. Meaning, every thought, every word that comes out of us, I call it either conscious or unconscious living. Okay,
Yep.
consciousness. I teach consciousness because consciousness is a seed level of everything.
Yes.
Yes.
And consciousness is multifaceted. Everything you do in life can be a conscious living or unconscious living. Unconscious living, it's like most of the people live. They
Yes.
live robotically. They wake up, they take
Right.
shower, they brush their teeth, they do exercises. Every day is the same. And they bring, as Joe Dispenza says, they bring the experience of the previous days into the next day. And it
Right.
becomes like a roller coaster. They never get out of this hamster wheel
Yeah.
because it becomes the same experience 1,000 times amplified every day over and over again until the time they pass. So it's elevates to a moment when the soul cannot elevate any longer, and there is no reason for the soul to be present on this journey. If you are not learning, you need to be taken out and come back at some point of time and start all over
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
yes,
Check. You're out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next
What are you doing
lifetime.
here?
yeah,
Yes.
because it's like a child. If you learn, you grow, you
Yeah.
develop, you're curious. But if you don't have an interest in anything, if you think there is only things in life that you know and you don't even ask questions, you're not there yet. The door, I say always, the door is closed. When the door is closed, the spirit waits for any kind of little opening where the light can shine through, even just a little bit,
Yep.
just to awaken a question within you.
Yeah.
And what I suggest to people is physically touch with their hands their heart.
Mhm.
Because the moment you touch your heart, you create a physical contact.
Yes.
Okay, and then you take a deep breath
Mm.
through the heart, and you visualize in your mind eye a golden light inside of your heart. And this golden light, as you breathe, expands, and it's like a candle. It becomes lighter and stronger and more powerful, and it grows, and it's completely fill your whole body from within. Every cell, every organ, everything is glowing with light. And then it expands outside of you and fills the space where you are. And you virtually bath yourself inside out in the golden light that comes directly from the universe, from the heart of the universe, that awakens feelings within you, that awakens memories within you that were always there. They were simply dormant, waiting for the time you touch your heart and connect to your heart again.
Oh my goodness. That was
Beautiful.
perfect. That was perfect. Oh
Yes.
my gosh, Diana, like I know so many people who are listening, like, okay, they're trying to get a hold of you. So how do they
Yeah.
find you? How do they do this work with you? Give us some logistics.
I have my website that it's called thediamondwithin.co.uk. In my website, I have an online program that I created that consists of 16 modules
Mm.
filmed by me talking to them and taking them on a journey and giving them an experience
Yeah.
of awakening. And it's all individual. because it comes with a special manual, with a book that will take them on their own personal journey. And I also include in this online program 6 of my sessions. I virtually take them by hand and help
Beautiful.
them to go on this journey. So this is not just a program; it's an experience.
Yeah.
It's
If
it's
anybody
something.
is listening
Yes,
and they just did that with you, that little heart kind of coherence you did, they'll know exactly what you're talking about because I felt that. And we're in California, you're in London. It came right through. It's very powerful.
so I feel everything in life is about awareness. If you
Yeah.
don't know, you can't experience this. And
Yep.
I always give comparison. Life is a high scraper from ground up the way to the sky into infinite, and it
Yeah.
depends where you living in this skyscraper. If you are on
Mhm.
the ground floor, that's the only vision you get. So
Right.
Yeah.
as you elevate your awareness to higher levels, the vision becomes so much more
Yes.
broader, and something that you never thought about it
Right.
comes into your experience and into your awareness. And that's how you elevate. You
Yeah.
elevate because your awareness grows with you. And
Yeah.
without awareness, you cannot possibly evolve as a soul, as a human being in anything in your life, because you will stuck where you were previously
Hmm.
without knowing that there is
Yeah.
another way out.
Yes.
It's not there yet for you to see, because you're
Yeah.
not ready to receive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they are
That's
going to
amazing.
become aware because they're going to listen to this podcast.
What a
And
great way to start the new
yes.
year
Yes.
to talk to you and get all this wonderful insight. And I agree with Debbie. We want to have you back and go further into your program and talk about the midlife stuff, women but
Yeah.
boy, what a wonderful, wonderful bunch of information and insight and a lovely practice that you gave us today. So grateful.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
for having
Thank
me.
you, Diana.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Wow, I learned so much from this podcast, and I think everyone else will. My key takeaways were, first of all, what we always talk about is awareness first. So
Hmm.
awareness that we're not just humans having this experience, but we're actually spirits in our
Yeah.
human suits having an
Yes.
experience, right? So I
Yes.
think that's the one of the takeaways, and the second one is then trusting your process. We're always like, talking about, positivity and affirmations, and so people can do that all day long, but until they actually trust that process, those things won't necessarily happen, right?
Yeah.
You really have to believe what you're saying, right?
Yeah. And having that trust and that faith in yourself that you know how to do this.
Yes.
That's so beautiful. I think
Yeah.
one of my biggest takeaways was just the practice that Diana does with us at the end, which is essentially heart brain coherence. And that is one of our core tools from our app. For those of you who don't know, Debbie and I are part of a nonprofit that we began 9 years ago called Cour Experience, COUR, and that is the word for heart. When you place your hand over your heart, that's your core. It's a French word. And so we had created an app a few years ago that is now available on all the places where you get apps, but it's a series of practices that you can practice along with. And so that app, which you can find at our website, which is Cour Experience, COUR experience.org, because we are a nonprofit. If you go there and you look at a tab on the top that says Core Tools, then you'll see a little drop down Core Tools for moms. It's for everyone. You can just slide all the way down to the bottom of that page, and you'll find access to the app. There is a free version of the app, so you can go there and grab it for free. But then you can upgrade with a one-time purchase of $99 to own it forever. It will continue to be upgraded, but it's not a membership. And then there will be tools that you can practice along with in your life, with your kids, for yourself, for your mom, for your dad, for whoever, to bring yourself to that centered space so that you can show up as your best self in your bodysuit on planet Earth today. So
Go
check
check it
that
out.
Yeah.
Go check it out.
Thanks for joining us.
And now for your core mental health break. This is your opportunity to take a moment to support your mental wellness, your peace of mind, your own ease and grace. Take some time every day to support your mental health. You deserve it, and it matters.
Today we're going to journal, and here is your journaling prompt. If I could go anywhere in the world, I would go. Take a few moments, journal about where you would go, feel it, create it, really think about what would serve you and uplift you. If I could go anywhere in the world, I would go. Enjoy your journaling.
Thanks for listening to the Warrior Parent Podcast, which is a production of our nonprofit, Cour Experience, who also creates and distributes Cour tools. You can find us at courexperience.org. Make sure you join us next week for another informative conversation to help you and your family show up mindfully, purposefully, and joyfully with each other and in your community.
Our Cour Tools platform consists of a number of proven tools and techniques that are designed to reduce stress, anxiety, and overwhelm in spite of what's going on in your world. We want to thank Samuel Hale, LLC, for sponsoring this podcast. Technical and marketing support comes from Inspire Your Brand. Our podcast editor is Justin Beeden. Opinions expressed by guests do not necessarily reflect those of the hosts, the producers, or the financial supporters. I'm Debbie DiManno.
And I'm Marci Mitchell. Thanks for listening. If you resonate with the idea of creating a community to help support kids and families, won't you join us by following the podcast and sharing this episode? You can even write a review. It truly does take a village, and we appreciate you.